Here we have Paul, and oh God, it's been years that we connected. I have all your lasers because I take them. I leave one in one place and I'm coming back so I don't forget. You know, I've gone through quite a bit of the charges because I tend to lose these babas, all the probes. And, I just love you guys. You work so hard to contribute. We emissaries, and these days are a little different,
Mm, yeah,
right?
yeah, very much so. It's so nice to see you. You're such a refreshing kind of reference of the people in our community around the planet who have been using our products and visiting with us here and there throughout the years. And it's just a real honor and really sweet to get a moment to get to be with you.
Yeah, gosh, what a gift. Poor Lily was trying to rearrange, disarrange, and all that. We got to give her the love
Yes,
you, Lily, for persistent,
yes, yes.
yeah. And guys, please follow these guys. They're amazing. You're gonna have all the links and everything you need to be able to connect with them to get the products because these these are lifesaver. And when I say that, Paul, I have done this so many times. Um, the house got very large windows, and we love birds and nature and all that. And they have heated the window, and I have pulled the decals. I've put everything, and this little one yesterday, but it happened with hummingbirds and every other thing, heated the wall, the window, and they were like, and I looked, oh, they're still breathing. One wasn't breathing at all. And I turned on the laser.
Mm,
And I went because I studied cranial for 50 years, and that's we're
mm,
gonna talk about it and I did
mm.
unwind. And sure enough, sure enough,
Yeah.
that bird was back. I just wrapped it in a little towel and I put it to get warm, gave it a little water, with little flower essence. And that bird, but I have done it several times. This is not the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It happened to me once when I was young, where I grew up, a bird flew into the kitchen window and I went out and I was young and it was a really kind of significant thing for me. I kept picking it up and I'd say, "Fly away, little birdie." I kept doing this, and it didn't make it. And many years later, I was back visiting my family and another bird hit the same window, same place on the ground. I went out, and on this occasion, I took the laser and I put on a line and I just held it over it a couple of inches away. And after about 10, little while, 10, 15, 20 minutes, one wing started going, then the other, and then it got up, and eventually it just walked away and flew away.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
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 I've done many.
yeah.
And I have done, my little dog was having a seizures, she's not here anymore, but she's here. And and they told me, oh, don't lasers because the seizure. I said, well, not this, not this. And I will do, and she will be fine. She will reset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about you? Because I remember a beautiful story about the plates of their face, and since I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah, yeah. So I got into lasers, many years ago, 25 years ago. Largely, I had an old injury where I had infection above the front tooth, and I couldn't. I tried many things over the years. I couldn't clean up the infection in the bone. I tried everything from Rife units, ozone, you name the different
mm,
technology, and I tried. And so I tried a laser. Back then there were different veterinary lasers, and I tried laser over the tooth, and within 10 minutes I noticed relief in the pain right away. Pain went away, and it stayed away for 2, 3 days, and then it came back. And that's what got me initially interested in lasers and figuring out, my interest has always been from cranial sacral work to different body work systems and yogic practices. How do we this is a dynamic moment on planet Earth. We're going through major shift as we enter
Yeah.
a new season.
Yeah.
And so my approach has always been, well, okay, someone's having issue, injury, emotion, program, whatever it is. How do we shift the physics of the thing that's the issue? And in a way that we notice it like right away, not like 2 weeks later, not trying it, but how do we shift the physics so that the next moment the physics are less of an issue than it was a moment ago? And so I noticed lasers, and I started playing around with them and trying to see what could be done when modulating the different things within the light. And that's how we arrived at this incredible healing device, which,
Yeah.
for me, what makes it such a blessing is hearing stories like you just shared about the birds and about your dog and about the
My
people.
bone.
Yeah, that's
I
what.
had bone that they said if you eat even a toast, you're gonna crack your jaw.
Yeah,
I redid the bone.
yeah.
Period. Period. That is consistency though, because not no one shoe fits everybody. You know what it is? Because in the States a little bit people are used to like they take a medication and something kind of seems gone, but it's not.
Yes,
Um, they expect that from products like this.
yes, yeah. I always say, the key to our whole approach, right, is, and this from cranial work, is still point.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, to me, everything that I am involved with, I'm constantly, most people in cranial work are using the rhythm, which
Yeah.
to me, from my perspective, the cranial sacral rhythm, and nobody discusses this, I'm not sure why, but to me, it's the galactic rhythm, right? Our galaxy is a big spiral, and it's like a big spiral. It's spiraling around like a bottle of water. If you went like this,
Yeah.
you'd have the same thing, positive, negative, and everything would vortex around that orbit between positive and negative. If you put flower essence or some herb, anything you put in the bottle of water is going to have this same orbit of going positive. If it's in that vortex, it's going to have
Right.
that same rhythm. And so I tell people everything in this galaxy is in that rhythm, that I call it the rhythm of the cosmos. And that rhythm, from the ocean tides to the cranial sacral rhythm, to me, the cranial sacral rhythm is dimensionally tuned down. That rhythm flows, everything on the axis of the planet is orbiting to that rhythm. And so to me, what makes, why I was so attracted to cranial work is as soon as you access that rhythm, it immediately, and babies, you can see this in babies, in dogs and animals. The cranial rhythm is orchestrating the other rhythms, the breathing, the pulse, the heart rate. All those rhythms are in coherence to that primary rhythm of the cosmos. And so, if with anything, if you induce that rhythm, things are going to start to come back into a greater place of harmony. And so that's what, to me, I only made a laser because in the process of playing around with lasers, I discovered if we did one thing, most people are using frequency. Everyone's into frequency, and to me, frequency is not that interesting. It's
Right.
linear. It's how fast or slow does something go. Where it gets exciting is when we take different channels of light and we change the linear nature to in this case induce the cranial rhythm to start to unwind. And so that's really the key. And then the more the cranial rhythm unwinds, eventually things reset back into still point.
The more opening, the more resonance, right?
Yes, exactly.
Resonance, which is so unrare because most of the time if we don't pay attention, we go outside. And the resonance with the divine is inside, right?
Yes, yes.
And my teacher, which you will love, I don't know if you know John Bollier, he is a biosonic enterprise and the tuning forks, and he's a trip. And he taught, I've taken the class many times, there's 7 levels of the still point.
Mm,
And we work from outside, we don't touch.
mm,
So only in the sphenoid, which is
mm,
fascinating. He
mm,
actually made a couch,
mm.
a sphenoid couch.
Mm,
so he can sit in it. He lived
mm,
in India for a long time, and
mm, mm.
that right, the cave of Brahman, right?
Yeah,
It, that's it.
yeah, exactly. Still point to me so that rhythm is moving, positive, negative. And still point to me is the first course I ever did. One of the first bodywork systems I did learn was cranial work. And this is when I was young. I was in college, and it was a course called, it was called Freeing the Core River was the name of it. A woman did it. It was called Freeing the Core River, and it was about finding the rhythm and then really following it and learning how to have a relationship with that rhythm and seeing where it can take you. It was more of a shamanic
Yeah,
approach to cranial work. It was beautiful. And
yeah.
so but it opened me up to kind of the exploration. And to me, I'm really, as much as I adore the rhythm, it's still point
Mm,
that to me is where there's a shift, right? From, it's like I always say to people, in the alchemy of the cosmos, if you come here from another place, another realm, right? Since for me, you know, I've been clear since I'm young. I'm not from here, and I'm very clear about my dharma, my mission. And so when one comes here, you come down through the universe, right? And then you come into the galaxy, and then you come and you arrive on planet Earth. And in each of those different states, you have slightly different physics, right? On planet Earth, there's the gravity, and the gravity pulls things into solid. The galactic rhythm, in the galactic state, you have this rhythm that's moving. And so if you can shift from the positive state into the galactic, there's this flow. Things
mm,
feel a little bit more like there's and so having to me, the conversation, if for people that are in this creation, in this experience, is understanding how to have freedom, how to have a capacity to move between the state of fixation, right, to the state of unwinding. And then still point is leaving the galactic condition and arriving into the universal state, the neutral, the space between the galaxies, the neutral condition. And so to me, having that range affords people, see, most people, when they don't have that range, they have some injury or an emotion, and then they're living with that, and they don't have it's just basic reference that shamans understand this, mystics understand this. They all have the different systems for taking something that's posited, right? Karma. Fixation to me is just karma,
yeah.
right? It's just something that's fixated. And if you don't have the ability to invite it to unwind, the cranial galactic rhythm of the cosmos unwinds things, and then bringing them back into neutrality
Mm,
resets it back into the neutral state. So we can walk something from a place of karma fixation back to a place of neutral non-fixation. And to me,
mm,
that dialogue is something that I'm fascinated with, and I'm getting knocked around here on planet Earth like everybody, right? Everything's accelerating. We're moving to a new age. It's a very dynamic moment. The key is, how effective are we at welcoming those things, inviting and curating them back into a state of neutrality where they're back in harmony with the cosmos.
yeah, roll over Beethoven, like I said, well, because if not, it gets hard. If not, if not, we what you resist or anybody resists persists.
Yeah,
And people, I said, if you give somebody a hammer, he's going to be seeing, or she's going to be seeing nails everywhere. you
yeah,
know, and the resonance, we lose the resonance. And
yeah,
we got to remember that as the dynamo that we are electrically in the
yes,
in the system,
yes,
that you got a positive, you got a negative, so you got night, you got day. So I think the human being will be incredibly bored if everything was the same all the time.
yes,
Just to remember to be in that center that you spoke on, that
yes,
resonance with the infinite, where everything is possible. Where
yes.
people said, "Oh, on my clients, I can manifest." Da, da, da. I'm like, well, for one, you need to reset who you think you are and
Totally.
discover to who you really are, because that who you really are can manifest anything. And by the way, when you get there, you may not want anything.
Yes. That's beautiful. That's so accurate. I always tell people manifestation is overrated. The key is when because most people are trying to manifest, right? But they're doing it with their emotions that maybe haven't been totally processed. So they want this, or they want money, so they're putting out. But to me, you know, if and many of the people that come to our seminars, they're looking for new, fresh ways to view manifestation. And so
Mm,
to me, the beauty, the real exquisiteness is when we don't even when we're in a state of neutrality and our being brings us things that we couldn't even have imagined. It's a surprise. And
right.
that's, I call it expression, where our beings kind of lay out things for us that bring us into greater harmony, greater service.
Yeah.
And to me, that's where the blessings are that I,
Yeah.
for me, that I, that I long for and that I so appreciate.
Yeah. And people said, how do you have that or that or that? I'm like, I don't know. It just comes to me. I don't worry about money. I don't worry about, I don't get hard like that, because
Yeah.
that stops it.
Yeah.
And I always say, whatever is divinely mine, just running through me so I can share with others.
Beautiful.
I tell my husband, I don't know where either flower essence from Ian White, my friend I love in Australia. He's an
Yeah.
Aborigine,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am like, oh, where? And he goes, you probably gave it away. Because to me, it's only passing by.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's not
Yeah.
mine. It's not
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah. Totally.
So I have talks. Say, look, this group needs that or that, or I didn't even mention need because then I confirm lack.
Yeah.
I said, just bring, because there is, the light, whatever I call it at the moment. And I think it's important because now it's going to be very different. This is a new light. This is a new earth.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the scriptures have said every single thing, and people go to temples or church, but they're not hearing what it's about. They're not, you
Yeah.
know, they're just not. They just no. I grew up with shamans, by the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
shape shifters, the shuars, and the cueros.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some galactin going back to get pieces of soul, whatever they call it, soul retrieval, illumination,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
the ticket is to be able to find it, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what I
Yeah.
do doesn't have a name.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're so accurate, and I try to keep things very simple in my own reality because I see, we're leaving this age on planet Earth. Our star is moving through the cosmos, and we go through different neighborhoods of different stars, and those different stars then, like when you're driving a car and you go to one neighborhood, and then you go to it's the country. We're entering a different area of the cosmos, and that influences our star and the dimensional physics completely change. And to me, the age we're leaving had a different diffraction. It had like I look at it like a microscope. It's like a lens. Our star is like a lens, and it tunes the planet with a dimensional reality. And in each age, it's like a microscope. The lens changes, and you're looking at microscope. You change the lens, and it's the same thing you're looking at, but it looks totally different because it's a totally different experience that's coming through. And so, same on our planet, right? We're going into this new zone, and the last one had a lot more. The diffraction to me was okay, like things diffracted things to a linear perspective. So like white light through a prism, then you get red through purple, which is the polarized spectrum. And in the age that we're so to me, the last age was like that. And people set up their realities. Most people here did it, except for shamans and people that were blessed to be around shamans and mystics. And so people then organize their life as though they're coming on a line from the past when they got here to the present to the future. And people organized on that line. The point on the line is the personality, the ego, the personality. And to me, that when I got to this planet it was complex. It didn't work well for me in school. It didn't work. I didn't process like that at all. And so my journey, I'm sure the same for you and many, many people here who have come in to help usher in and help curate and steward a new reality on this planet where we're not coming in through that lens of the linear trip
Right.
ego personality. We're coming in as a being that's coming in a nonlinear way to do service and to share the medicine gifts that we have that we're here to help the planet with. And so for me, you know, when I share and do seminars, I'm always just keeping it very simple. Like for me, manifestation, the more that I am in neutrality, the more abundance there is. It's a simple physics. Polarity, not so much abundance. When one is neutral and the energy field is open, the universe is filled with abundant energy from the cosmos. So I tell people, the more one unwinds, rests in still point. To me, still point is not something only embodied. I tune my attention into still point throughout my day. Every 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes, I take a moment, I pull my attention back, and I just hold it in still point and curate this. So neutrality to me is the essence of manifestation and abundance in the way I am navigating right now.
It's my safe place. I've learned it from very, very small. My first, journey was being buried at 5 years old up to here, left there for 4 days. And you lose all that connection to fear, to time, to what should happen, what shouldn't happen. That's a 5-year-old. I mean,
Wow.
that's perfect age to, you know what I mean? That will be put you in jail on this planet, but it worked really well because I connected with the beating of the earth. I connected with the darkness. I connected that dark wasn't dark, that it was up to me what I made of.
Yes.
And and I remember because I always remember seeing you and all the events that you went in there, check in, pull it in, and came back and sometimes you were there for a while. So because you're dealing with so many people and so many things. And I think it's really important a person and teaching and being a guide that when we pull back is something that they can grasp and what happened. Because it's an expectation that is lost there. So they're gonna have to trust.
Mm. Mm.
Because it's not that, oh, he's looking here or he's doing that. Where did he go? What happened? You're in a source place, so nothing needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's, I
yeah,
mean, yeah. I mean, the mystics that I was and elders, that's amazing that you did that for 4 days. That's astonishing. I had a moment when I was young, before I went to college. I was very drawn to Native American ways, and I visited an elder, and it instructed me that I did the same thing for one night, only for one night. And in that one night, it was profound, and I felt early in the morning there was a moment where I felt this pulse that moved through my whole body. It was
exactly.
yes, I was like, it was astonishing how the
Yeah,
earth kind of showed
right,
me it was a living and very
yeah,
tuned. It was astonishing. So I commend
right.
you. That's astonishing, and it
Yeah, that's the womb, right? That's the womb, yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Black Elk adopted me as his granddaughter, so he was a
Mm,
storyteller, which is basically trance. Because in the natives, that storytelling is they take you on a journey all the time. I
mm,
went with Jackie Indians
mm,
in Mexico. That was a tough one, but
mm,
it's the heat and the desert, and they leave you there. And I was like, oh, okay.
mm.
They let you know about the snake, the brother, the sister, and you're like, oh, alrighty, no consuming this and that. And you know what? These are the trials of rites of passages where you die and you come back.
Yeah, and to me, in the work, how I was influenced by the mystics and the people around me who I always tell people, notice for in my life journey, I always noticed when I was around someone who was substantively different than everybody else. And they were the ones where I would put my attention on because I understood they had something that I
Yeah,
didn't see anywhere. And so I would do, and a big part of that, and the way I look at how I, share the blessings that I've been given is to give out simple references and codes of what I'm doing that work for me, and then
right,
giving people space so that they can
right,
can tune to that, try it, because it's not it's not me. I'm
Yeah,
constantly fumbling around here on this planet and
yeah,
trying
yeah,
different things, you know? And so yeah, and so it's that neutral essence, that whatever name people want to call it, spirit or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a nonlinear energy that's coming from beyond. And the
yeah,
more we attune to that, the more we
yeah,
have harmony. You know, it's very
yeah.
it's simple also.
Resonance. I try not to ever battle it because, but the thing is very important not to, because once we try to describe or put it in a label or whatever, we lose that. We
Yeah.
lose that expansion. We lose what
Yes.
all that it is. And a
Yeah.
yogi, may not say anything, but he can do so much just
Hmm.
there. Just
Yeah.
presence, right? Just
Yeah.
presence. And
Yeah.
you have that presence. And I remember,
Oh, that's
like,
very
I was
sweet. Thank you.
freaking transported so many times because I know you since pretty much you created, and I remember your dad was a dentist, and
Yeah.
it was way before the baby.
Yeah.
So, and that,
Mhm.
they were going to fuse and the plates of the cranial needs to keep moving. And
Yes.
you're like, oh, no, no, no. Such an important place too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a root canal from when I was an injury when I was young,
Yeah.
and above the root canal was infection, and so this is how I got into lasers, right? I basically had infection, and I didn't want to pull the tooth. The suggestion that he and everybody else said was to pull the tooth and do an implant, and back then I didn't want to do that because the only types of implants that there were two options basically. Option one was to bridge it
Right.
between the two teeth in the front, and many biological dentists say there's different bone here and here. So if you bridge across the center line, then the cranial rhythm doesn't move as well. And so I
Right.
definitely didn't want to do that because I was into cranial work, and so I wasn't going to hinder the cranial rhythm of the right.
No.
And the other option was a titanium implant, and so I
Mm,
didn't want titanium because it gives off ions, and
yeah.
it's like a radio, it's like
Yeah.
antenna. And so
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want that. And so there were no options of what to do. So I was living for years with the view that, okay, I have to take care of this and clean this up until a better option arrives.
Yeah.
I trusted that one would. And so what I did in developing the laser and using the laser, I'm just going to show because this is key. This is one of the probes that plugs into the laser. And this probe is the red one, and I
Yeah.
use this right up inside the mouth, up here, and also right up above the front tooth.
Yeah.
And literally, it within several, right away, I noticed improvement. I felt
Yeah.
relief, which I always had an aching kind of pain,
Yeah.
discomfort. It also affected my system, didn't feel as
Yeah.
strong as it could be. And so doing this, within 2, 3 months, the infection was pretty much gone. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until some years later that they came out with ceramic implants,
Mm,
which to me are a super good option. They're a lot like bone. They don't have the same ionization, and I eventually did that. Though now there's no infection up there. And
yeah.
in the case of this situation, when they went to do the implant, this is, by the way, the red probe, just to give
Yeah,
people a
that's what
little.
I wanted you to share with us, and everybody, the wave, what that means. I was a huge rifer, by the way,
You
huge.
are, yeah,
For
yeah,
60 years. I would get
me too,
rife machines
yeah.
in every size.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I was very into Rife. I was very into different frequency devices, LED, you name the tech, and I was playing around with it because I was very drawn,
Yeah.
radionics. I was
Yeah.
very drawn to when you had flower. I was very into flower essences for a while. I was into lots of things. And so the key is, well, okay, what's effective at changing physics when
Yeah. Right.
something is not
Right.
in harmony, when something's not neutral? How do we
Mm,
change the physics? So to me, this is our lasers use red, infrared, and violet,
mhm.
and this is a red laser probe, and it's really, really powerful for cleaning up situations like skin situations or scars or facial rejuvenation. I use this a ton, in particular for myofascial work. I love doing. To me, the myofascia is exquisite at holding energy, and so many people, the fascia is patterned in a way where it's kind of fixated. And so I go around the body. I tell people I go around and I just look for any areas that have a little bit of tenderness, like right here. It's a little tender. So what do? I just kind of rub it gently, invite it to kind of unwind. I'm constantly just going around my body looking for any areas that want to unwind. So this is the red probe. This is what cleaned up. I always tell people red goes about that far into the body. In a dark room, you can see it goes in
all the
about
way.
that far. So anything that's on the skin, the muscle, the nerve, anything on that deep, it works great with red. And the key principle for folks that aren't aware, you've been around us for a while in the work we do, is so lasers donate photons, and photons stimulate the part of the cell called the mitochondria, the ATP, the adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy molecule, increases the energy. So it's like sunlight on a garden. The lasers donate photons. Photons stimulate ATP. ATP invites the cells to start to rebuild, regenerate, and find solutions.
Yeah, this is good for this master because the women are buying all kinds of things, putting injectable, I don't know, something. And with this thing, you can release this muscle, which is pulling these chicks things down. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you can. I tell people, you don't even really need a chart. Just look around the face for
right.
anything tender. And if you find tender, like right in here, little tender. So I just
Wow.
dig
This,
in, invite it to
just
relax.
released big time.
Ah, it's
This whole
exquisite.
side released so big time just now because I felt it that it was a little. I'm thinking, why? What did I keep in there?
Yeah, the body holds on to things, and
Yeah.
it's our opportunity to invite it to kind of, it's like combing hair. I tell people it's like combing hair. You comb the hair, I mean, not so much, but you comb the hair and same thing with the body. You're looking around for anything that's tense, any
Yeah.
blocked energy and inviting it. I'm big into doing protocols. Like lately, I've been doing a lot of work on releasing the pelvis and the pelvic floor and the pelvic bowl. There's exquisite areas that you can unwind throughout the body. The sphenoid is another area that
Oh,
I
I
love. You
love the
mentioned this.
sphenoid because now the sphenoid is under attack because people are trying to figure what's happening. Am I safe? The sphenoid is always calibrating if it's a good space, whatever, and the poor thing is exhausted. So boom, I think this is the red proof, right?
This is the red probe. Yeah, it's very good for soft tissue. It's very good for anything this deep, right? And if you want to go deeper, and you're so right about the sphenoid. I always tell people the sphenoid is it's one of the most exquisite parts of the human anatomy. I tell people it's like an instrument. The sphenoid is like this, for people that aren't aware, the sphenoid is like this butterfly shaped,
Yes,
and it moves inside the cranium. It's moving freely like
all the
this.
time.
It's going all, and on the sphenoid sits the pineal and pituitary glands. And so when yogis, mystics, shamans go into the nature, and they go into in the cave, right? They're getting away from all this stimulation, so the sphenoid can attune and resonate like a sacred instrument, where it then starts to tune the glands to different layers of reality, different other realms, and then people have these mystic experiences. And
Brilliant.
so, yeah, so the key to me to having flexibility to navigate the complexities on the planet right now, everyone's thinking on this planet, which is a highly overrated way to experience this exquisite treasure of a planet, right? It's just not that exciting thinking. Much more, from my perspective, elegant and appropriate for the human condition is attuning this instrument to the subtler realms, where we can start to release compounds that put people into states, DMT and different bliss states, where people are completely in love and in bliss and in different ways of experiencing this outer reality.
No compress,
Yes,
expansive. And
yes,
in that Turkish saddle in the middle of the sphenoid,
yes,
all this magnificent is the Brahman's
yes,
house. And you
yes.
got all these master glands and master things that they're fully connected. I mean, it's a big center.
Yeah.
It's a big center. And,
It's an important one.
yeah, and John Bolia has a seat on it. He made one for sitting,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big couch. But
yeah.
and then we have
The infrared. Yeah, the infrared is the silver one, and it's a little bit different in that infrared's not visible. I put some violet light around here so you can see when it's on.
mm,
Though the infrared is a beam, some cameras will see it. Some infrared shoots out. It looks like white in certain if people have an infrared camera. And the benefit of the infrared is infrared doesn't get absorbed the same way the red and infrared does. So it doesn't even notice the skin, muscle, nerve. It just keeps going until it hits something more dense, like bone,
yeah,
cartilage, disc. And so
mm,
this is what I use to regrow the bone above the
yeah,
front tooth. I
me too.
after I had infection, the
Mm,
infection eats away. There's no blood when there's infection, and you get decay, and it eats away at the bone. And so I use this to regrow the bone so that they could do the implant.
yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Here and here, because they told me you chew on a piece of dust and you break in the jaw. Simple. That's
Mm,
how much jaw bone you have
mm,
or
mm,
don't have. And
mm.
I just consistently did that, and I increased with other ones to the blood flow of the blood, and hey, it worked just fine.
Yeah, it really does. And we're not, alone in this. There's many studies that show this, and many chiropractors and sports teams are
Yeah,
using much more expensive 15, 20, $50,000 lasers that all are infrared. And so our approach is a little bit different in that, I didn't mention this though, the key to our approach is part laser, but it's part also the waves. We patented and have this unique way of
right.
weaving subtle dimensional waves called scalar waves within the light. And it's those subtle, not frequency. We use a little frequency, but it's really a tuning of dimensional waves that induces the cranial rhythm to start to unwind and to eventually, as it unwinds, to arrive and open up into still point. So it's really a tool that not only delivers photons to help stimulate and regenerate tissue and the body, but also as a way to invite things that are fixated and holding on to cell memory or emotion or belief or trauma or whatever to unravel and return and drop back into still point, which from my perspective, and I could feel it. Like, I don't know if you feel like right there, there's kind of everything just
Yeah,
kind of dropped in
mm, yeah,
to still point. And
yeah.
so still point to me is like control alt delete. It resets and clears cell memory. It clears karmas. In fact, I did this body work for years where I was, in the right before around 2000, Deepak had come out with the theory of cell memory. And
Deepak, yeah, I,
yeah,
I teach for the guy.
yeah. And so Deepak said, why are people having the injuries, 20, 30 years later when the cells are new in 7 years? It doesn't make any sense. And he said, well, there's this thing, cell memory, where the old cell passes the shock or trauma from the injury to the new cell, and
Mm,
then the new cell behaves like the old cell.
mm,
And so when I was doing cranial work when he said this, and he didn't really explain back then. Now he has how to clear that. But to
mm,
me, I was doing cranial work and I had the notion of, oh, if like a cassette, where a cassette, you hit erase and the erase basically takes the magnetic tape and brings it neutral and the
yeah,
information's gone on the tape. And so when I was doing cranial work and I had this hit where I was like, oh, I bet putting things into still point,
mm,
unrunning the fascia, the rhythm, collapsing things in still point clears the cell memory. And so that's what I was doing for many years. I was doing body work where I was just basically, I was doing more still point than cranial work. I was unwinding the rhythm and then holding still point until the thing shifted. And
mm,
then, I did this and I was doing a lot of it and I kind of got burnt out a bit. And
mm.
I went to India, which often I'll do. I stopped. I was like, I'm done with body work. I went to India and I was with a mystic there. And the mystic, the yogi said to me, he said that he lived in the space between the breath. And right away,
Right,
I was like, still point. He's
right.
doing the same
That's
thing
the
I'm doing
gap.
with my hands. He's
Yeah,
just dropped his whole reality into
right.
that state.
It's the gap. with everything is possible. I
That's
call that my soul spa. Like I'm going into a sweet hammock of energy where everything is just swinging nice and smooth, you know. It's yeah, I teach for the Chopra Center, the primordial sound
Oh, of
meditation.
course. Yes, yes.
Yeah, but I just like with the events, I'm like, it was too much. It was just woo, too
Yeah.
much for a while, and then I was working stuff with Madanis and Robbins and stuff. And you know, I became more selective and more crone like because of my time of life, you know, and I'm on extended warranty because I had Hodgkin stage 4. They gave me 10 to 15 days. And it was nobody will treat it, which thank you. But I had a conversation, you know, that day, and I said, look, I can go because I have responsibility. You know what I'm here to do, very clear. You know, I'm serving, you know, you actually grant me that and you always download, but you need to move the calendar date because it is not the time right now. So I knew that it was a test and I met, I don't know if you knew him, Misho Kushi. He was a microbiotic
Yeah,
scientist.
yeah. I've heard of. Yeah, I'm not super familiar, but it's got a resonance.
What a trip. And he said that same day in Coconut Grove in Miami. And it was this little shop, workshop he was doing. I waited until everybody left. And I said, because the little flyer said 99% survival results for cancer that same day. And I went, thank you. But the next time we're going to see it in a magazine, you don't need to put me through this because I'm committed, really. And he said, well, and I said, I don't have the means money wise to go to his institute. He said, I'll pay for everything. And there we were 10, and there was Louise Hay. And she was on the way out too. And we became really good friends. We did the work. We got the contraction of trauma, shock, whatever. We realized where it came from, and we did the work, and it restoring the letting go of all that and recomposing a way I say it, or reforming it, or whatever. It was not the same thing, and remission with no drugs, remission with nothing. Stillpoint.
Amazing.
So I can speak for myself, and I know this works. And I think we have done 2 probes. We need
Let me just mention too that the main unit, which is this piece, which has the same 3 probes, have the red, the infrared, and the violet. And the main unit, this one, has all of those in it in little diodes, laser diodes, not LEDs, laser diodes.
Yeah.
And the benefit of this one, I tell everybody that this is called the scalar wave laser, and it's astonishingly good at unwinding things in the body, injuries, pain, emotion, organs. To me, I tell everybody in our network and around the planet who use our lasers to unwind the glands. I'm really into the glands, and glands, the adrenal glands in particular. And most people, I just find the adrenal glands are really important to unwind. My view is that glands work through a principle called entrainment, where the glands are, around people grow up around their families, they get entrained. Women live in a house together, the cycles come together, and so clearing that entrainment to me is like I spent years trying to figure out how to clear glandular entrainment, and particularly in cranial work, because I found a lot of people I'd work with cranial, they'd come back 2 weeks later, their system was, and I kept saying there's a reason that people aren't holding more coherence and resonance in their subtle condition of the cranial rhythm. And I had the hunch that it was the glands, that if the glands were releasing adrenaline, cortisol, it was kind of contracting the rhythm. back into a state of more fixation. And so I spent years trying to figure out, glands to me are like in another dimension. They're not, they're kind of, I tell people they're like cats. You can't tell them what to do. You got to like go up, and if they choose to do it, they'll do it. And if not, they won't. And so the key to glands is most devices I've tried, Rife, frequency generators, other lasers, they're stimulating. The key is the subtle nature of ours, the nonlinear scalar approach of inducing unwinding. The glands love it and they unwind. And the more people train their glands to be in a state of ease and harmony and neutrality, to me, the system holds neutrality, the field opens up and holds this nice open quantum state. It's just exquisite. To me, that's really, for me, it was a real blessing to figure out how to unwind and work with the glands.
And for people, you got the unwind, you got quantum, you got relief, you got Pleo. And Pleo, because people have asked me that. What's Pleo?
Yeah. Pleo is my background is in live blood analysis also. And Pleo is in live. Are you familiar with live blood analysis?
Oh, yeah, I've done it since whatever years. Yeah, I love it.
Live blood analysis. The principle of live blood analysis, right, is that, this is not that common in the US, but the principle in live blood analysis was that, in the blood, there are these little units of energy. They're often called the somatid or the bion or the proton. The little energy in a healthy person in a very high powered scope, you can see a lot of these little dots moving around. And in people that are more toxic and not as healthy, there's not so many. And what they discovered, and this was proven by someone in Canada named Gaston Nassans, who had this very high powered somatoscope, which could look at the somatid. And what he discovered, and this was postulated back, many years previously, Pasteur, who came out with germ theory, there were other researchers back then and doctors who said that germ theory isn't accurate, right? That germ theory says blood is sterile and then you have germs, and the Western system makes things to defeat the germs, right? There were other folks that said germ theory is completely erroneous. That blood is not sterile. Blood is, they called it pleomorphic, meaning pleomany morph change. And their view was that blood was like a river, and that depending on the condition of the river, the body would either, for people that had a toxic milieu or condition of the river, it would grow pathogens, bacterial, viral, fungal things. And so what Gaston Desson proved, they had postulated it, is that little unit of energy called the somatid morphs into viral, fungal, bacterial. So that life energy, which they say they found those, in sacred places around the planet. That life energy is not, and they also have found under high-powered microscope that somatid is shaped in a hexagon. It's got this hexagonal shape. So the key is the pleomorphic, and by the way, Pasteur, before he left the planet, right before he transitioned from the planet, he said that he was wrong and they were right. He agreed with the founders of pleomorphic theory, Bucamp and Enderlein. And anyhow, so the Pleo program, I'm always trying different things and researching things. The Pleo program is exciting because it shapes the light structure into a hexagonal structure for the purpose of activating and regenerating that life energy, that somatidian life energy. And we have many people around the planet for many years who do live blood analysis and who use the laser and do before and after. And you can see how unwinding the adrenal glands, activating the thymus gland, some of the key protocols that we share. We have the Vital program helps to clean up the lymphatic system and to activate the energy in the lymph. So it's a tool for changing physics throughout the system of the body and energy field.
Yeah, the cubomethatron is hexagonal, right?
Yeah.
Sacred geometry.
Yeah.
So it's just the reconnecting and relearning where we came from, how we lost it on the journey.
Yeah, well, it's an exciting moment because to me, it's about dimensions flowing from the cosmos unimpeded, and that opens up all kinds of different ranges, energetically, dimensionally, also in the body. Like a lot of the research around solutions to different challenges that are going on is about understanding protein folding and how as the body kind of opens up dimensionally, protein synthesis goes through this process where it tunes in all kinds of resources to heal and find solutions to things going on in the body.
Yeah, yep. Then we have Activate, right?
Yep, Activate's a great program. I use Activate. It sounds like it's activating for energy. I look at it more, the way I experience is activates energy flow upwards along the spine. Many people on planet Earth, their energy is flowing down the spine, out through the chakras, and their attention gets kind of, it's why I tell everybody every so often to drop in still point. In fact, everyone, if you take a breath in and you stop right at the top, kind of hold for a moment, feels like holding the breath. Let the breath keep going. Yet you keep your attention here in the space between the breath.
Yep.
Beautiful.
The
Beautiful.
gap. Then we have rejuvenation.
Yep. So Activate tunes the energy upwards the spine, which then nourishes the glands and the chakras, like the medical symbol. It activates energy up along the spine.
Right.
Rejuve is great for Rejuve. Are you familiar with Ormus and high spinning the plasma? Rejuve activates the lymph and the higher spinning alchemy that takes place throughout the body.
Nice. We got Soothe, which we should swallow this setting because it's so much other stuff that is not soothing right now to soothe. Opens up again. There we go, quantum again. There we go, scalar again. It's soothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Soothe, actually, we have different things in there to activate neurotransmitters in the brain. So the serotonin, there's all these great things that are coming out from the body. A lot of people, it gets clogged up and then it's not signaling. And so Soothe is saying to the neurotransmitter system, hey, let's kick on and start releasing the pharmacopoeia of different blessings that the body is designed to make to deal with pain, opiate receptors. The body is capable of incredible things if it's not, shut down.
Yeah, which the nervous system shut it down, fly and fight, and everything that fear that everybody's in, and that they think that that AI. People always tell me AI. I'm like, listen, it doesn't get up on its own and start doing things. You got to direct it, and you've been in AI for a long time. I don't know. The electric is AI. Anything that is remote, really. It's AI, everything,
Yeah.
phone, this, that, and then Unity, of course. Wow,
Yeah,
right?
Unity is very sweet. It's Unity. The Unity is a program that is very effective at tuning dimensions. So I see right now on the planet, people are either effective at processing things, right? Because really, things are coming at everybody, and either one is able to process it and bring it back to a neutral place, or if it can't get processed, then people have to live with it, and then the universe then reflects, things because people haven't processed it. And so, to me, the whole dance right now is we're getting hit with all kinds of stuff as we leave the previous age. And how effective are we at welcoming things, dissolving them, bringing things back to neutrality? It's like a constant dance to induce neutrality. And Unity is very effective at tuning the things in the field, emotions, stress, different energetic patterns, and just dimensionally tuning them so they don't have leverage over you, and rather you tune and have a little more
I'm
coherence
gonna
relative
eat
to
it.
them.
I'm gonna eat it. So then we have Vital Cohere.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Vital's great for it detoxes. Vital's super good. It activates the lymphatic system. It cleans, it detoxes. It's great on old injuries, on disc situations. It's great for you want to do on the spleen and to do the lymphatic system. And we have lots of protocols on our YouTube, official Scalar Laser. There's lots of protocols of me showing people how to do organs, how to do lymph, how to do whatever things that I'm working on. I share with people so
Yeah.
they can have a
I am
reference.
going to direct them to them, but because YouTube is really strict about, this is a Google thing. So they don't like that we take the anything from anywhere, which is just really good. So I'll put the links. We will put every single link, the prices of the product, the cohere I love, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
wave.
yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
wave is actually really good for the cranial rhythm. It tunes the cranial rhythm. It's a it's a lot of people use it who have trouble sleeping,
Yeah.
stress. It's a really sweet program.
Which is everybody, because people are taking dragon's feet, whatever it takes to sleep. They're like, well, whatever it is, uh, it's just to get that, just to get that. But for most part, we're not taught to do that. I mean, I was, but for most part, it's like you need to be good, you need to comply, you need to learn, you need to earn, you need to all that, and that takes people out. So they're constantly trying to plug in,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is being amazing. What to close, Paul? Can
Also,
you?
the violet I didn't mention is one more probe I didn't show, but the violet one is the
Yeah.
really really cool one that activates. It's very good for like longevity, for like stem cells, telomeres,
Oh,
facial rejuvenation. I like to do up in the
wow.
nose. It's very good to activate the
Right.
pineal gland and the pituitary.
Right.
It's so good, and it's great at clearing energetic stuff in the field. The aura, the
Okay.
chakras. It's very very effective for clearing around the field.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And before we go, what about the yogic approach? Because that's just mind blowing to me, your yogic approach to all this.
Yeah, I mean, the still point seminars we do and the practice of still point is that there's a laser and then there's still point. And to me, still point is it's like a portal. And I constantly tune my reality by dropping in still point. And then we share a whole process of how we use, the white laser or the lotus is we call
Yeah.
the lotus laser. It's the one for yogic practice
Mm,
and for kind of subtle tuning. And it's really about understanding how energy moves in our body. Many people, have the reference of Kundalini or of this. And to me, I tell people, keep it really simple. How do we curate and steward our attention? And the first step to me is dropping in still point, because that immediately anesthetizes all the linear stuff of who one is, where one's going, what one needs to do, or the
yeah.
emotion. When you get in still point, none of that's real.
Yeah.
And they find that people, when they're resting in still point, that you absorb more nitric oxide. Yogis and mystics call it the breathless state. And when you absorb nitric oxide, it activates DMT. It activates bliss. It's like nitrous oxide that makes people laughing and then they go to sleep. Nitric oxide is more subtle. It doesn't make you go to sleep. It doesn't make you laugh. It makes you feel a little bit of bliss. And the
Mm,
more that one rests in still point, we share practices to how to gently curate the energy up along the spine in a very
mm,
systematic process. So you're in charge of it. You're not waiting from some bolt of energy from the cosmos. It's a very every day. I could be around some people. There's some stress, and I'm not closing my eyes and going like this. Pulling my attention to still point. I'm squeezing the root at the base of the spine very gently to induce subtle energy to flow up the spine. There's all
right.
a whole suite of very simple practices we share about how to curate attention, how to process things that are going on in the field, how to open up to manifestation and
Mm,
abundance. And then so the two other pieces aside from the main unit and the probes
yeah.
is the white lotus laser,
Right.
which is much more subtle. To give you a reference,
Yeah.
it's just substantively more subtle. And then
That
lastly,
one I have at home. Yeah, I
you
have
have
that
you
too.
have
Oh
oh
God, yeah.
good. Oh, good.
Oh yeah.
This is called the Quifi. I don't know. Can people see that? Yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah, it
And
looks like a
this,
little spaceship, some
it looks
sort.
like a little spaceship, and it's not a laser. It's designed, and for people, I do this on calls, and I have people from Iceland who text in and say that they can feel it when I turn it on. So see if you notice when I turn it on, right? And I always tell people, it's good. We're here in Still Point. It's lovely. So when you put this on, normally we plug it into the wall.
Yeah.
It's got a very subtle. This is unwind. Feels like a little river, just a very simple stream, unwinding things. Now I'm going to change it to quantum. Quantum feels totally different. It's like just still point. It just we use this to neutralize it. This goes out for like a ways, like it does your house, your neighbors. It sends a field out designed to neutralize cell phones, smart meter, Wi-Fi, strong emotions, anything that's polarized that's coming at you. This is designed to gently induce using scalar waves. Scalar waves are nonlinear waves. Regular waves, past, present, future. Scalar waves are when the past and the future are weaving in perfect symmetry. It looks like the medical symbol. It's a higher dimensional waveform, and that we're using collapsing scalar waves in our laser tech and in the Quifi. And the benefit of that is it ripples out a kind of nonlinear field which softens, it doesn't eliminate other signal, but it softens the signal. And it also, I'm going to do one more program. This is Unity. And it also, so anyone who's around the Quifi, stands for quantum field inducer. It induces the cranial rhythm to stay intact in coherence and to curate it to open up into stillpoint.
Yeah, I got that one a while back when it first came out, and I have it in the house there and in LA. I just love the tools. I love all your downloads from we don't know where, but I'm telling them, please do not put me in any position that I need to get really sick again, so I understand and commit. The commitment comes before I'm in a body. No.
Yeah.
End of story with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing amazing. You're it's so refreshing to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And you're an absolute treasure.
Thank you. I love you so much. I want to thank Lily for all readjusting.
I know. Big thanks to Lily and Essentia. They're huge parts of the thing. I'm in the front, but behind the scenes, I have an amazing
Lucretia
team.
is like
And
amazing. She's
Lucretia,
always helping. Oh, this person needs a laser. Lucretia, that one broke, whatever else they dropped it, and they think is rubber. And she always accommodating these chiropractors and people that I have introduced the lasers. And I love you, and I'm thank you, my brother from
same. It was a
another
total
mother.
blessing to get to be with you today.
Yeah,
Blessings. Yeah. Yeah.
love you so much, Paul.
You too, dear one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been holding space for like 9 consecutive years. It's time for you to shut down for a little bit. And I was like, what? And so I was like, okay, let me just honor that. And I'm glad that I did, but